Welcome Galactic family, believe in yourself. Beloved emissaries of light. In this final stage of our old Earth bifurcation, we find ourselves crossing the space between the old Earth and the new vibratory Earth, in which some of us choose to dwell consciously. At this time, some ascending souls are already anchored in a five-dimensional reality, while many may find themselves still navigating between the 4D portal that leads us to the new timeline, because, in fact, it's all a matter of how we choose to vibrate and radiate our essence more than a number or physical dimension. At the moment, we are working on the synthesis of all our aspects, which is not a one-day process or something done simply by reading or going to one healer after another, but by consciously awakening our cosmic spark and practicing what we preach. A message of inner fusion that this new month, with the energies of Scorpio and with its number 12, reduced 3, reminds us. Because it is precisely in the unification of our inner polarities that the ascensional path begins. It is by curing all the lovelessness, blockades, and fear that have been unconsciously incorporated or imposed by external manipulation that we have begun to unravel the many false layers of illusion we once believed and incorporate a higher level of awareness. As we continue our process of merging and healing old programs, our ability to co-create improves. As we continue to fuse polar opposites internally, our ability to expand and give birth to something new that can only be born of the fusion of opposites, but again complementary. This is where we are giving birth to a new self and a new timeline, as we also continue to master the way we are anchored completely in our choice, trying different possibilities for us to experience. From a collective perspective, planet Earth seems to be facing its most chaotic period for a long time. Please be observers and look beyond false propaganda, misinformation to manipulate us by hidden forces, in order to discern what is truly taking place behind the physical scenes. It is true that our planet is in a profound transformation, from nature, in the form of natural disasters to climate change, as well as many other issues such as politics. However, it is also true that the polarity of light is strongly reinforced by the many new souls that are awakening, as well as the work of the various light bearers, starseed souls, those who raise consciousness and new earth soars, who are being the pioneers of this transition. It's all a matter of where you choose to focus your attention. Because to experience the deep bifurcation we are going through, the formation of extreme poles must first arise. As we continue our transition to the new Earth, if we look back, we will see more chaos, but that is not all that is happening. This is just one aspect that, for us souls on the rise, is clearer now, because where we are going there is no such deep sense of polarization. Therefore, it is very important to always remain in the wisdom and loving essence of our divine self, because every time we look to the sides or the past we are bringing that same chaotic frequency to our present vibration and from there to the line of time. This is not the same as denying the evidence of our human nature, but welcoming both without judgment and choosing the state of being that is most in line with who we are now. We do not have to ignore, label or try to fight anything, because we know that we simply need to expand and leave behind what we have experienced for ages. We have in our hands the moment that some of us have been waiting, a moment, a gift, in which to choose where to dwell, in the old or new Earth, is essential, because the double body of the Earth is already occupying a new time zone/space in an upper octave. The question is, are you willing to do whatever it takes to let it all go and begin an unknown journey, yet exhilarating with conscious co-creation and integration? This question is not answered by a yes or no. Your feelings, thoughts and actions will let you know where they are in frequency. If you still read, You agree, but then you do not act according to what you really want. Your actions are showing your lack of integrity, which is perfectly fine if you are aware. If you still think that acting is more important than being, then you are again polarizing and allowing your masculine essence to be constantly bringing something into the form without the proper, necessary, inner feminine reception. If you know that it is necessary to heal/undo and still continue to separate, judge and manipulate, then you are not ready to release an old aspect of your three-dimensional egoic personality. It is very important that we understand that in order to evolve, something must first break within us to unleash the transformation/reorganization required in our inner worlds, beliefs and everything that used to be familiar to us. As many of us know from personal experience, in the first place, we begin to be against everything and everyone who feels lack of awareness and compassion. While these first steps may seem chaotic to those who are accessing this journey, you will realize at the same time that trying to fight and change what you cannot is just a waste of energy and intent. As you evolve, as has happened to many of us, you realize that the only thing we can really change is ourselves. And that is where we stop struggling with the outside world and begin to access our inner world, being able to finally begin this change with the whole. At the moment, the collective is struggling with what it thinks it can change, or external conditions. Let them be. It is also an important part to help others wake up. The important thing is not what they do or do not do, but what we do with our frequency. If you choose to concentrate only on the dark forces, then you will begin to vibrate in this lower range, manifesting it in your reality and then seeing only the chaos. It is by neutral observation, especially at the end of the day, that we take some time to become the eternal witness, that we can discern whether our egoic self still dominates us, or whether we become masters and therefore sovereign beings of our own experience of life. At all times, we have the opportunity to choose. We really do not have many choices, because all choices are a matter of deciding whether we dwell in love or fear, and at every single second, we are offered the gift of becoming aware of what we are giving our attention to. The integration of Alma and the monadic connection. The process of soul integration, although it is an infinite process of constant remembrance, leads us to a higher connection with our monad, since this is the next step when we begin to integrate the higher aspects of our soul, from all the space. Feeding our connection to our monad is fundamental to ascending souls who are at the service of humanity's evolution, because we do not walk alone in this earthly realm. And the more we cultivate this connection, the more we will realize that we have never been alone. On the contrary, we act as one at all times with our higher aspects, dwelling in the 12th dimension, whether we focus more on the separation and the individualized aspect of the source that we are, or whether we are more aware of that higher connection. It is essential that we begin to incorporate the remembrance of who we are in essence, for only by doing so will we begin to act with more integrity and awareness, reminding us of more aspects of our soul mission as well as of our true purpose in this human incarnation. Many people daily want to know what the purpose of their soul is. When you are in this step, asking the outsider and trying not to stop looking for a clue, it will not serve your inner quest. What has helped me in my journey so far is the fact that I am aware that what we are here to do is to follow the steps that my soul has guided me in order to bring down more wisdom about the purpose of my soul. The initial steps are often related to cleansing, healing, and beginning the work of soul integration. Because if we do not begin to purify ourselves, the veils that cover the truth will keep us from seeing what we need. In order to incorporate this monadic connection and therefore more wisdom, we must first work on the dissolution of all ancient beliefs as well as purify our emotional and mental bodies which are covering up this connection with our monad. After regaining proper balance and purification, we may understand that we are only an extension of our other aspects, which remain on other planes, but which are breathing, feeling, and acting as one with us. It is when this moment of enlightenment arises that we leave all egoistic desires aside and begin to take a higher path of selfless service because we now remember that we are not here only to accomplish our mere egoistic desires and experience a human plan, but to be able to bring that higher essence, as well as your wisdom to the whole, into our unique way of serving. It is no longer about us, but about the whole. It is no longer what we think we desire for ourselves and with whom, but to be fully present and aware of what our unified self directs us to do at every moment. At this moment, it is fundamental that in this tumultuous stage, we are able to remain always focused on this deeper connection with our monad, because it is not only part of who we are, as our main guide and support, as we walk as individualized beings. Cosmic events that triggered change and expansion. On a planetary level, the expansion we are all experiencing, internally, in our own unique way, is also repressed by Jupiter, especially as we are now in the depths of Scorpio. Another aspect that occurs during the beginning of this month is Jupiter forming a quinile with Pluto, on November 3rd. This frequency will have a profound impact on the collective, helping to continue the awakening and internally deepening the evolutionary path itself. This will be of great help, too, for the ascending souls to advance in their mission of soul and to bring down new aspects of it. It will help us to awaken the sleeping gifts of the soul, to go beyond our human limits and to be, behind the physical scenery, all the latent potential that remains untouched in the depths of our being. The day before, we will also have a very important cosmic event, since Saturn will square with Chiron, the cosmic healer. Did you wake up in the middle of the night anxious, not knowing why? Do you still tend to repeat the same old scenarios, even if you try to manifest a different result? Have you ever noticed that the unhealed pain beating in your heart, even if you try to cover it up, with vices or any veil, will bring you the illusion that there are unhealed wounds? If a part of you is still in pain, whether you are living in the past or in loss, you have not yet finished the necessary healing with your emotional body and unconscious wounds. With this alignment, wisdom and higher consciousness, originating from Neptune in direct motion, again, on November 22nd, since as you know the energies do not last only one day, we will have the cosmic gift of bringing the unconscious to light and begin to work all the aspects that remain in the darkness, suffering because of the separation that we brought them. It is time to take full responsibility for every thought, action taken and realize that there has never been something we have done wrong, in relation to ourselves or others. They are simply acts committed by being in a state of lower consciousness or fear. Now you have incorporated higher aspects of who you really are. Now you are getting rid of the illusions of what you never were. Now is the time to forgive yourself for all the unconscious acts that were done when you were totally different people. You have come to love, to enjoy, and to open your heart to the things that your egoic self has been dreading for a long time. There will be a portal opening between the full moon of Taurus on November 4th and the new moon of Scorpio on November 18th. The full moon in Taurus will serve to anchor the balance between our earthly and ethereal realms. This is because Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus will be in Libra at this time of the full moon, so this is another confirmation to bring the inner synthesis and therefore to our lives. On the other hand, the Scorpio moon will be of great help in connecting our divine self and begin to bring down and anchor this wisdom on our tangible plane, because that is what really serves us and helps us to ascend. It is not by dwelling in the ethereal that we evolve, but by bringing all this transformation, purification, and superior wisdom to our bodies and dense reality. Stabilizers, new earth anchors, elevators, awareness and grid workers. This is a very important step for those working to bring stabilization, as well as those working with the earth grids and new earth anchors, by maintaining the appropriate frequency, acting with bridges, for the new earth. Since we are all facing various imbalances and changes in our physical system, and we should try to stay as long as possible in harmony, because if we collapse we will not be of help. Many of you will be called to serve in a different or broader way. I have been told that many are now guided to travel and anchor in places where their essence will be doing a higher service. Others may change their locality and begin a new stage there, for even if our lower self tends to become attached, this does not concern our person or what we like or dislike, but rather to the higher will. Those who raise consciousness, as I call them, are those with the sole role of always remaining at their highest possible frequency, vibrating within the framework of love and compassion in order to raise frequency on our planet. They are the ones who work from within, and wherever they are filled as peaceful warriors, who bring love and joy to everything they touch. They are essential to keeping the planet in balance, because, without its work, the planet might not be able to sustain the proper essence that is needed for this planetary transition. For stabilizers, as you already know, there is a lot, as usual, happening when we stabilize, whether in the astral, when awake, or making you fully conscious, because as many of you have failed, the attacks of the dark forces are becoming more recurrent as they are carrying out their mission of trying to keep the planet asleep, as it used to be for ages. These are some of the symptoms that if you act fully conscious, will face, while stabilizing. Huge pressure on your coronary chakra, especially for those who make an internal personal change. Because it is transforming and adjusting that one can incorporate the new light that descends from our I Am presence. A deep feeling of weight in the legs. Vertigo, especially common after navigating between different timelines, because we are now much more in touch with other aspects of who we are, also in their many realities in which they exist. Somnolence. Headaches, as an invitation, among many other causes, so that you work in your mental body and purify them. Feed yourself with what serves to better integrate your body with this new light. You know each other and we are unique, so what is good for my body may not be what will help yours. Drinking lots of pure water is essential, because water helps us to lead the light, divine wisdom, which we consciously integrate while purifying all channels. Above all, always remain in the loving embrace of your divine self and your infinite compassion for the whole, instead of focusing on the drama and chaos that other shadowy forces create. It is really a very intense passage, and that is why it is essential to trust and surrender to change. One of the experiences that begin to emerge when we enter a new path of conscious co-creation is that as we continue to expand, our inner light will let us know when it encounters an obstacle, something we call being in a painful situation. It is when you need to purify the path, starting from within. It is when your soul asks you to pause and undo all the obstacles that are impeding the expansion of your inner light through new horizons. Everything is created internally and is experienced outside. If you are facing certain challenges, then you must become fully aware and take responsibility for understanding that you have created everything to begin with. Just because you need to master something new or that you are not yet seeing, or because you need to continue learning how to use your frequency. There is no one or any outside force doing this to you unless you invite them when you do not claim your sovereignty and the ownership of your sacred space. It is a time when only your inner compass will help you navigate this new timeline that we are so eager to experience. For the moment, for us, only constant change will be our new reality, since there is nothing fixed or linear, or a final destination to reach, but an infinite expression to experience and enjoy. There is no such thing as having to go to that place and do that or meet that person, because then I will feel happy. There are no things we are going to do, there is only the happiness of being fully anchored internally in this unique moment of the now. We do not need to see where we are going, or what next thing will happen, because we are the ones who decide to begin. We only need to count on the blessings of the moment and the inner strength and power that we all possess, and they will help us to gain new horizons, regardless of the various challenges we encounter, because we now know that it is in them that we discover more growth and wisdom. It's no longer about where we are headed, but where we are now, and what we are doing with it, and what we will create in the next new moment, which we wish to be magical. The gift of making the next moment as we would like is no longer out there, it has never been there, it has always been inside. The difference is that you are breathing, acting and thinking as beings aware of their own power and with the wisdom to know how to use it, to help him and the all. Because now you remember that you are always part of the whole. With love and the service of the consciousness of oneness,